Alright, so we're going to continue on doing the order of operations here. Here's my quick and dirty list of what order do you do algebra in. I may not have everything listed here, but this will get you started. You do parentheses first. You have to do what's inside the parentheses first. Whether it's exponents, addition, subtraction, multiplication, whatever, do that first and simplify that. Then you're going to be doing your exponents. Okay? And then you're going to be doing your multiplication and division, and then your addition and subtraction. So addition and subtraction come last. However, that's not going to always be true, because if addition and subtraction fall inside the parentheses, you do them first. The easiest way to learn this stuff is to just look at a whole bunch of examples, and that's what I'm basing this course on, so let's just get going. And you'll get a feel for what you need to do first. Let's just take something simple. 3 times 5 minus 4. Now, the typical question students have is, what do I do first? Do I take 3 times 5 first and then subtract 4? Or can I take 5 minus 4 and then multiply by 3? What do I do first? The answer is you do multiplication first, because we said so right there. It comes before addition and subtraction. So 3 times 5 is 15, and then I could just carry the minus 4 through and write it down. 15 minus 4 is 11. That is the answer. And if you do that in your calculator, that's what you'll get. Notice if you did it the other way, 5 times 4 is 1, times 3 is 3. That's totally wrong. That will get you the wrong answer every time. Okay, let's move on. 3 parentheses 5 minus 4. This is easy because we have a nice parentheses to tell us what to do first. Always do what's in the parentheses first. So I'm going to carry my 3. Inside the parentheses I have 5 minus 4, which is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. That's the answer. Let's take 3 plus 5 squared. Again, we have addition, we have exponents. My little order tells me I do exponents first. So I'm going to say 3 plus, I'm going to evaluate this, 5 squared is 5 times 5. That's what 5 squared means, 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25, so I'm going to write that down. And 3 plus 25 is 28. And that's the answer. Okay, now let's take another. 3 plus 5 squared. Now what do I do here? Do I somehow bring the 2 in, or do I do what the inside first? Well, look, you do the parentheses first. Okay, so I can evaluate the inside. 3 plus 5 is 8. Keep my 2 outside. I've evaluated the inside. Now 8 squared is simply 8 times 8. That's what 8 squared means. And 8 times 8 is 64. And that's the answer. And we're going to get into more complicated problems. I mean, I'm not going to try to sit here and lie to you and tell you that what we're doing right now is the most complicated kind of problem you're going to do in algebra. These seem rather easy. But to be truthful, once you master the order in which to do this stuff, it's going to be totally second nature. And I remember what it was like learning this basic algebra stuff, trying to figure out if I add first or subtract first, multiply, divide, exponents, parentheses, all this new stuff. And then we haven't even gotten into negative numbers yet, and it gets a little bit confusing there. You just have to practice, and that's what we're doing here. Okay, so let's do another. Let's say I have 2 plus 3 times 5 minus 4. Okay? I definitely don't want to add first or subtract first, because that's way at the end. So the first thing I do is I do the multiplication. So I'm going to write my problem over again. 2 plus, I'm going to do this first. 3 times 5 is 15. So I'm going to write 15 down here, and I'm going to keep my minus 4. Okay. Now generally when you have some operation at the same level, like addition and subtraction are kind of at the same level, you just work a left to right. That's the same is true of multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So I can work left to right. So 2 plus 15 is 17, and 17 minus 4 is what, class? 13. and that's the answer. So you just work left to right there. 17 minus 4 is 13. There you go. Notice in this case, since they're at the same level, you actually could have done this first. 15 minus 4 is 11. 11 plus 2 is 13. But just as a rule, just to make it easy to remember, when you have operations at the same level, just work left to right. Okay? Let's say we have 64 divided by 3 plus 1. Well, let's go ahead and rewrite it. 64 divided by, always work the parentheses first. 3 plus 1 is 4. And you could just work this in your calculator, that's equal to 16. Not too bad. Okay, let's work another. Let's say 7 plus 9 divided by 2 times 4. We'll do the parentheses first. 7 plus 9 is 16. Carry the division symbol. We can do this parentheses first. 2 times 4 is 8. Notice I haven't done any division yet. I've done this set of parentheses and this set of parentheses, and I've just rewritten the problem. And this is equal to 2. And that's your answer. Next problem. 5 plus 7 divided by 3 times 4. Do the parentheses first. 5 plus 7 is 12. And I can just rewrite the rest of it. Divided by 3 times 4. Again, now we're confronted with some operations all at the same level. Division and multiplication are at the same level, so I can just work left to right. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So I could just write 16 there. That's the answer. Okay. So it's pretty important. Follow the little rules I've listed above. Get out a sheet of paper if you want. Write them down. And they'll keep you out of trouble. If you can just remember to do those things in sequence, they'll keep you out of trouble most of the time. Occasionally the problems will be complicated looking and you may not be sure what to do, but hopefully through examples you'll get the gist of it. Okay, so let's do a couple of additional. Let's say we're going to do 100 divided by 10 times 10 divided by 100. Now notice we have multiplication and division, they're all at the same level. So I can just work left to right. 100 divided by 10 is 10. So that's what this is equal to. 10 times 10 is 100. So once I evaluate this is 100. And 100 divided by 100 is simply 1. So this whole thing is equal to 1. And you could write them all explicitly in steps, but 10 times 10 is 100 divided by 10 is 10. And this is 10, so 10 times 10 is 100, and then this whole thing is 100, so 100 divided by 100 is 1. Let's try something a little bit bigger. 3 squared plus 2 parentheses 1 plus 4 parentheses minus 2. Now, I told you we could do parentheses first, and we are going to do parentheses first. 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, I can also do this 3 squared and just kind of keep it out there because I'm not actually adding it with anything else. So 3 times 3 is 9 plus 2 parentheses 5 minus 2. Now notice I've done the exponent up here, but I actually haven't added it to anything, so it's okay to kind of do that, even though I've said that parentheses is first. So now I just work left to right. This is simply equal to 10. 2 times 5 is 10. So 9 plus 10 is 19 minus 2 is 17. And that's the answer to that guy right there. All right. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to another section of the same lesson, and we're going to be doing something similar to what we did before. I'm going to give you that x is equal to 3, y is equal to 2, z is equal to 4. And we're going to use this to substitute into the expressions, except now these expressions are going to be a little bit more complicated than the ones we were doing before. So let's just go right into it. 5z divided by 2 plus y. Let's just plug it in. 5z is 4. Just carry the rest of the problem out. Divided by 2 plus y, which is 2. Okay. Now look what I have. I have I have multiplication and division over here at the same level, and I have this addition over here. Well, addition comes dead last. Do not do addition and subtraction yet, but I have a bunch of multiplication and division, so I can kind of do that all at the same time. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 divided by 2, again I'm working left to right. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So this whole thing's equal to 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. That's the answer. Don't do the addition until the end. Let's take 3 parentheses 2x plus y parentheses. So let's expand that out. 3, 2 times x, which is 3, plus y, which is 2, okay, like that. And we'll simplify this guy. We're going to do the parentheses first. Now notice, we're going to do the parentheses first. Everything in the parentheses. Even though addition is dead last, since it's in the parentheses, we always do it first. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. So I can write this as 3 times 8, which is equal to 24. Do everything in the parentheses first and then proceed with the outside stuff. Okay. Let's try something a little bit more challenging. X, y, z plus z squared minus 4x. That's a pretty big expression. Let's write it out. X times y times z. That's simply 3 times 2 times 4. All I did was plug in x, y, and z. Plus z squared, which is 4 squared. And I'm running out of room here, so I'm going to just continue on the bottom. I can do it over here, actually. Minus 4 times 3, because x is equal to 3. What is this stuff equal to? Again, I've got some additions and subtractions here, but those are dead last, so I do not do them. I do the multiplications, the exponents first, and then I do the additions later. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. So this stuff's equal to 24. 4 squared is 4 times 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. I'll write that down. 4 times 3 is 12. So I'll write that down. Notice I've done no addition or subtraction. I've done the multiplication and division, which come first. And now I'm going to write this as 24 plus 16 minus 12. And that's pretty much that. And then if you actually subtract this, 24 minus 12 is 12. 12 plus 16 is going to get you 28. This is the answer to the problem, 28. But just remember to do the multiplication, division, exponents first. Do not add or subtract anything until the very end. Okay. And I know that this may be repetitive to some, but I tell you what, math is pretty much a bunch of repetition. repetition is how people learn this stuff, and you get more and more comfortable with it the more we do it. So let's pick something a little bit different again. 2x plus y squared over y plus 2z. So now this is even a more complicated thing. We've got some additions, we've got some exponents, we've got a big division bar, fraction bar, we've got addition on the bottom and multiplication. Let's just not get scared by it and just dive into it. 2 times x, which is 3, plus y, which is 2 raised to the 2 power on the top, divided by y, which is 2, plus 2z, which is 4, like that. Now what do we do first? Well, we definitely don't do this division first. We want to, I guess another rule that should be added here is work with the top of the fraction and the bottom of the fraction, and then worry about doing the division later. You've got to simplify the top and the bottom separately before doing this. Otherwise, what are you going to divide? So let's go ahead and do that. 2 times 3 is 6. Carry the plus sign. We do that later. 2 times 2 is 4. Keep my division bar. Got to do the bottom and the top, simplify separately. 2 plus 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, so now that's the new fraction we have. Let's continue simplifying the top. 6 plus 4 is 10. 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 over 10 is 1. Notice I did not do the actual fraction division part of it until later. So this order of operations stuff is helpful, but it gets a little bit complicated when you're dealing with stuff like this, because one would think that the division of the fraction would come before the addition here because it's higher, but that's just one of those rules in algebra you have to commit to memory. Do the top of the fraction separately before the bottom of the fraction. Kind of like parentheses. You treat it as if it were parentheses. That's actually the easiest way to think about it. You should just sort of pretend, even though it's not written, that there's an explicit parentheses around this and around this. You do the inside of the parentheses first and the bottom first. Don't ask me why it's that way. That's just the way it is. It's kind of like, why is the sky blue? Well, you always do this way, and that gives you the right answer.